Welcome to Through the Looking Glass. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about the great and wonderful Joe Biden. But before we do that, as always, I'm going to hand it on over to Russ.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Through the Looking Glass podcast. A couple of guys sitting down talking about different things going on in the world and our country. Please, like always, like, share, comment, subscribe. Let us know how we're doing, how good we're doing, how bad we're doing, all of the above. But first and foremost, because this was a childhood hero of mine, I would like to pay my respects to Akira Toriyama. Unfortunately, one of the greatest anime artists of all times and story creators of Dragon Ball has passed away this last week. So we lost one of the greatest. It's very sad to hear him gone. So many respects to you, good sir. And if the Dragon Balls would reel, we'd bring it back. We're going to miss you. So jumping right into, as you said, the most famous president of all time, most popular, more votes than any sitting president ever, and
he's done a better job than any president.
Yeah, one of the greatest political leaders of our lifetime.
Jobs are up, inflation's down, gas is down.
You know? From the numbers
it's wonderful.
He created 3 years ago, they never seem to, put that in. So I got some information about Mr. Biden here. So to start off, born Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. He was born November 20th, 1942. He is the 46th current president of the United States and a member of the Democrat Party. If you don't know that, I'm not sure where you've been. He served as the...
Where was he born?
I got that somewhere. He was born in Pennsylvania. You threw me off there. He was born in Pennsylvania, but then later moved with his family to Delaware. He served as the 47th vice president to President Barack Obama, as we know that. He represented Delaware in the United States Senate from 1973 to 2009. So he has a pretty extensive history in politics. He was actually one of the most popular up-and-coming Democrats during his political career, which is kind of interesting. He said he was very charismatic, and he started off his political career actually as an independent and then switched to Democrat, of course, so that he could actually probably get a seat in Senate, because running independent gets you nowhere.
He probably knew he could lie better to that side of the aisle and get them to believe the lies as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with Donald Trump. He started as independent, but then he chose to run as Republican. So he graduated from the University of Delaware before then going to Syracuse University to earn his law degree, in which he has recently actually lied about like his merits in his education. He would say, I graduated like the top percentile and I was
that wasn't recently. That was back in the 80s he was lying about that.
Yeah, but just recently again he brought it up where he was saying he was like the top percentile when he's not. He always graduated like
he was in the top 100%.
There you go. Top 100%. He also, during his time in the Senate, he oversaw 6 U.S. Supreme Court confirmation hearings, which I think that's a lot to oversee 6 different individuals to be appointed to the U.S. Supreme Court. One of them was Robert Bork. I've never heard of because just recently became politically active in the last 7 or 8 years. But then Clarence Thomas, and I've watched the confirmation with the Senate with Clarence Thomas, and it was very strange how they attacked Mr. Thomas. But I'm glad he's on the Supreme Court. That's the early portion of his political career. And of course, he had that terrible accident. His wife and kids were in a car accident that kind of interrupted his career for a little bit. He kind of stayed. He was on the Senate, but kind of stayed out of like the mingling of politics for a couple of years until he met his new wife, Jill Biden. So his most famous contributions are the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act, also known as the 1994 Crime Bill, which reading through it, it wasn't the worst written bill. It had a lot of good propositions, but the way it was enforced really negatively impacted low economic families and the marginalized communities, Black communities, Asian, Hispanic. And I haven't looked into the Violence Against Women Act, but I do have it pulled up if we want to go through a little bit of that. And which leads us to today. Biden ran unsuccessfully for the Democratic presidential nominee in 1988 and 2008.
That's after he got caught plagiarizing a speech or something.
Yeah,
That's all it took.
Yeah,
Plagiarizing
so
a speech, and
he was very popular in
That's
1988, but he did plagiarize a speech from a UK Labour Party leader, Neil Kinnock, and it was one of those things where when people caught on to it, that was basically what they kept rolling over and over and over again. So public opinion said, no, we're not having you. And then, of course, lost the 2008 nomination to the much more charismatic Barack Obama. And now we're here. Dead air. That's the early starting of
so
Joseph
should we start
Biden.
out with some of the good that he's done? Does anybody have anything written down of anything good that he's done?
I got a whole list here from whitehouse.gov, but plenty of them can be countered as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like the very first one that they list on whitehouse.gov. Lowering costs of families' everyday expenses. Horseshit.
Yeah,
That's clear horseshit. I don't know how anybody believes that.
that goes against
Go
a
to
lot
the
of
grocery-
studies that I
Hey,
looked at.
go-
On average, it's $250
just go to the
a
fucking
month higher.
just go to the fucking grocery store and look at the fucking prices. Those are everyday
Yeah,
expenses.
some of them have doubled.
Yeah.
Gas is up.
Spending $100.
Bills are up.
Spending $100 at the grocery store today gets you maybe a quarter of the food it did 4 years
you
ago.
can fill up the top part of your grocery cart where the kids are supposed to sit for $100.
Yeah.
I went and bought just a couple things today and it cost me 40.
Yeah.
Like literally I think I got 4 or 5 items that we needed. It's $40.
So one of the good things I could say is from the 1994 crime bill is that this is actually what introduced resource officers in schools, how our schools had the police officer walking around.
Yeah.
I think that's good. You know, I think it's
Yes.
actually good to have a police officer on school grounds in case anything happens. It also introduced a mass hiring of over 100,000 new police officers, which I think it's probably not a bad thing.
Oh yeah, it's good nor bad.
Yeah, that's kind of neutral. But again, what everything else happened with the bill is it stereotypically.
Well, is he one of the ones that helped write the bill, or did he just sign off on it?
No, he wrote it.
Oh, okay.
He is the one who proposed it on the Senate floor, which then got pushed to Congress because it
Okay.
passed the vote in Senate, pushed to Congress. Congress said, okay, they passed, and then Bill Clinton signed it into act. And I guess the reason why he wrote this bill up is because of the 101 California Street shooting and the Waco siege. So after this happened, but the negative effect of the crime bill was the restrictions on semi-automatic rifles, which, because the crime bill lapsed in, I think 2010 is when the bill ended, and it didn't get
So 15 years
revoted
later.
in. Yeah, that's when Americans were able to start buying semi-automatic rifles again, and that's why the AR-15 became so popular.
Makes sense.
Yep. But yeah, his bill was very harshly used in, ironically, Democrat strongholds to target minorities. So the argument for why it's so bad is that it shortened the pipeline from like schools to prison. Also in the bill, it offered nearly $10 billion in funding for the construction of new prisons, which that's wild. I didn't like that.
I mean, going over it, it just seems like there's more cons than pros.
Maybe.
Isn't that how most bills are?
Yeah, like the Save
So
the Puppies Act, where it's actually we're going to euthanize all the puppies.
Yeah,
Or the ban TikTok Act they tried to push that looked like it's being pushed again recently.
Yeah. Or the more recent, the border enforcement bill that they tried pushing, which actually flat out stated unlimited children can come into the country, and we're just going to hire more border guards.
Well, it's up to
speed
4,000
up.
per
Oh,
day.
well, unlimited children.
Oh,
Anybody under the age of 17. So if you are an undocumented person coming to the border and you look kind of young and you just say you're 17, you're a child.
Undocumented children are also easier to traffic.
Yep. They
yeah,
sure
nobody's
are.
going to be looking for them.
Mm-hmm.
Fun stuff.
So is there actually something good he's done? Or just something in the gray area?
Well, on whitehouse.gov, it also says he rescued the economy and changed the course of the pandemic.
The one that
Trump
the
would have
government caused.
Trump would have done
Yay.
the same thing. Like
Well, it
after
would've-
the pandemic is declared over, there would have had to have been some recovery efforts of our economy. The thing is I would much rather have a business person overseeing that rather
Yeah.
than the government who literally fucks everything up.
Well, Biden is a business person. Look how rich he's become being president.
That's right. Business in Ukraine, especially business in Ukraine. That is for certain.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that his family's worth, what, $100 million now?
I'm not exactly
Or
sure,
more.
but that could be said about every politician where, you get into a position where they're paying you $150,000 a year and somehow you become a millionaire.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
We should
crazy
not
how they
allow
buy
these-
stocks and that stock goes up 10
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, we should not allow these people to buy stocks. That is the infrastructure bill. I mean, that's okay. Some of the things that are written in it are okay, like giving money to actually build infrastructure,
But
except a lot of it is green energy and it has been used by these departments not for the purpose that it's used
Yep,
for.
so not good.
On paper good.
on paper, but in practice is all that matters. Anything
That
else,
is-
Adam?
That is true.
Successful. Oh, shit. Why'd that just move on me? Successful counterterrorism missions against leaders of Al Qaeda and ISIS.
Like leaving billions of dollars
Yeah.
in weaponry in
Yeah.
Afghanistan, so now they're going to be able to blow up even more of our
Yep.
soldiers.
And I've got some things on the botched Afghan. So, did either of you happen to watch his State of the Union address?
I did
was-
not.
It's terrible. That man is so out of touch with everyday people. It's disgusting.
That's
Yeah.
what I
He sat
assumed
up-
it would be, and I didn't even bother.
He sat up there. He lied. I got several fact checks from things he said
Ooh.
during that State of the Union address that were just flat out wrong.
Yeah, I really like watching Steven Crowder for these live events because they literally have like 20 papers and they will call all
Yep.
of this.
Immediately, as soon as they'll pause it and be like, fact check.
But there was
Yeah, that's
actually a gentleman who yelled out into the crowd when Joe Biden was giving a speech. Some part near the end, a man was screaming, "What about the Marines? What about the Marines?" He got escorted out of the building and given a fine for it. Turns out
Got a fine for it.
it was the father of one of the Marines who was killed by a suicide bomber during the botched Afghanistan withdrawal. How ironic. How ironic.
Well, that only happened because he did such a good job pulling us out.
Such a good job.
Yeah, only 14 died.
Yeah, only 14. Even though there
Could've been
are
0.
photos of civilians also trying to flee the country and just grabbing onto the wheels of planes. There's that. And then as soon as we withdrew, Al Qaeda took over immediately, threw over the government. So fantastic. People losing all of their rights overnight. That's awesome. And we've touched on this before, Adam, but you said when the United States typically does leave a combat zone or an area of operations, they do leave all the equipment behind.
A lot of it, yeah. It's somehow cheaper to just leave it there and get new shit than it is to ship it all back home.
Yeah,
I can kind of see that,
manufacturing.
but do they like
decommission.
do
we
they decommission it? Do
we
they
should
destroy
have
it?
blown it all up. We literally should have just blown it all up.
They just
I don't
they just
understand why.
Do they gift wrap it with a bow?
Probably. I never actually saw that, so I can't
Yeah.
confirm, but yeah, most likely.
Well, apparently that's actually why one of the stereotypes for when we got into the most recent war in Afghanistan, the stereotype was all of these Afghanis and the rebels were using AKs is because of Russia's invasion of Afghanistan. They did the same thing. They just left all their military equipment. So these rebels scooped up all the Russian assets and learned how to use it. So now the next country that invades Afghanistan are going to be fighting against rebels that have military-grade equipment. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fantastic when we start seeing those videos. Or rather, our children or our children's children start seeing those videos. That's going to be so fantastic. I'm so glad that we continue this.
How's your guys' NICEAG
Bloodshed.
bills this year?
Mine's actually pretty good.
It's gone up about
Higher than last year?
12%.
Mine's gone down.
Nah, not mine.
But I'm an anomaly.
You're kind of stingy when it comes to stuff. You're very prudent.
It's because another thing they got listed on whitehouse.gov is that he's taken over 100 actions to lower household energy costs by $100 per year.
That was, I believe, a part of the infrastructure bill. Is
$100 a
he-
year. That don't, most of the energy bills are what, $200-300? You're saving $10, $8 a month.
Yeah.
Mine's almost $80 more a month this year.
That's what I hear a lot of people
And
say.
we're using less gas in the house than we did last year.
Hey,
Like we used to keep our heat at 66. We've been keeping it at 62.
don't forget though, in like the next 6 years, your stove's going to have to be replaced with an electric stove. So,
Or
Not-
just no stove at all.
Not
There you
mine,
go.
my landlord's.
yeah, true. But
Oh yeah, and
No,
if it's cold in here, my heat don't work.
Oh shit.
but I think that was a part of the infrastructure bill. A part of the infrastructure bill was to start making household essentials more affordable. But one of the major ones was internet access. So even though a lot of Democrats seem to think that African Americans don't even know how to use the internet.
That's because they're racist.
Yeah, but they're not, though. They're racist
They are.
in a good way.
They
you know?
are.
Yeah.
I have no problem calling out their internalized racism. They want to hoot
That's a
and
good way to say it.
they want to hoot and holler racist at Trump. I got also here
At bare
a
minimum,
whole list
it's-
a whole list of quotes from President Joe
Oh,
Biden that
there's some
prove
good
his
ones.
racism as well.
Yeah, at
To think that African Americans can't get an ID or that they can't get internet or don't have access to the internet proves within your mind you look at them as lower on the totem pole, that they're either too poor or too stupid to get access to those things. You don't see Republicans thinking that way. It's only the Democrats that think that way. So really, who's the racist? You know what else I want to add to this, even though, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean they're racist, but it could come from a place of racism. Nobody loves to tell black Republicans how they should feel the way that white liberals do.
Or if you are a black Republican, you've been tricked into
Mhm.
being a.
Mhm.
I've seen it online where I'll see conversations between black people and the kinds of things that black people will say to other black people if they're
Mhm.
Republican. Yo, that's wild. The things that they let each other say to each other. That's crazy.
Mhm.
and
It's
then there's
crazy.
the good old, if you don't know whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Oh yeah,
That's-
Oh, that's one of the quotes I
I
got
got like
down.
six
Yeah,
or
that's
seven of
that's
them.
one of his big ones.
Yeah.
What do you think the most popular Biden quote is? Like the one that people can like, oh yep, that was Biden that said that.
Probably the kids like to rub my hairy legs, and
I got that one.
I
written down.
stopped this guy Corn Pop from talking to kids.
Corn Pop's a bad dude.
He ran some
But
bad boys.
I got 5 or 6 from his career. I would say actually, I don't want my kids to grow up in a racial jungle.
Yeah, that one.
I was looking at that earlier.
That one was
that
wild.
was part of a bigger quote that didn't actually sound as bad as people made it.
Really?
Out. Yeah.
Oh,
It was
because I know it's because of in 1977 they were
Yeah.
trying to force the desegregation of school buses.
Yeah, it's still bad, but
It's one of those things where they misquote on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
okay.
was cherry picked.
How was it misquoted though? I mean, he clearly did say he doesn't want his kids growing up in a racial jungle.
Greater context to it. It's
But
the same
what-
thing when
Yeah.
they say
But what
Trump
is-
says certain things.
But what is the greater context
Yeah.
to that? Because
Do you
context
do you have
or
the full quote?
Context
I can get it
or-
real quick.
context
That's
or not, he
exactly
said it.
what was said.
Yeah, let's see exactly.
They kind
what he
of
said.
here.
But
I feel like you don't need a whole lot of context to break down what he said there.
yeah,
Whether there was other context to it or not, I feel like he obviously felt that way in his mind.
So right here, unless we do something about this, my children are going to grow up in a jungle, the jungle being a racial jungle with tensions having built so high that it is going to explode at some point. So
kind of like him saying our society
if we
has
keep-
racial tension because
Yes.
of racism.
Yeah. So it's actually it's not that bad.
Okay.
But that's like the one quote that
Mhm.
people don't give credit to.
Sure.
But I think my favorite one, or rather the
Human
my
Shabbat
least
pressure.
favorite one, is poor kids are just as bright and talented as white kids.
Yeah.
That one might take the cake.
That one's not racist, though.
It was misquote by his staff.
Mm.
His staff said he misspoke.
Yeah, because he
didn't
meant to
know what
say
they
black
wrote down
kids.
for him.
Yeah.
He meant to say black instead of poor. That was the misquote.
See, that one was 1977 with the racial jungle one. When was that one? That was during his.
That one. Yeah, that was
was his
during a
presidential
relatively recent speech. Yeah, 2020, 2021.
I guess in 2006. So these are just Biden's history of racist rhetoric.
Oh, yeah.
2006, he said, you can't go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I'm glad you're a comedian.
Then
Joe
Obama
Biden.
being the first articulate and clean black person.
Yep, that was the very next one. The first mainstream African American who is articulate, bright, and clean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right,
That's wild.
So you've never read a single quote from, I don't know, Thomas Sowell, Larry Elder, Clarence? Like, you interviewed Clarence Thomas. He's a Supreme Court justice,
Mhm.
and Barack
he's not
Obama is the
articulate or clean, apparently.
apparently.
Actually, yeah, I heard he doesn't shower, so he wasn't very clean.
Yeah. In 2010, he warmly eulogized Senator Robert Byrd, who is a former exalted Cyclops of the Ku Klux Klan, saying he was one of my mentors and that the Senate is a lesser place for his loss. Yeah. Hillary Clinton said similar things. She was also a mentor towards Hillary Clinton. So
What about in August 2020 when Biden told a gathering of black and Hispanic journalists that, unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things?
yeah, basically saying the black community is nothing but a homogenized pool of people. Like, you all think alike.
Huh.
Pretty racist.
It's a pretty tactical way of just calling them all sheeps.
Yeah. And during his presidential race, on Charlemagne the God's popular morning show, we all remember this one. If you don't know if you're voting for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Cool. Good to know that you believe all black people need to vote for you. And
Yeah.
stay.
Or rather, it's like a requirement to be black. If you don't vote
that
Democrat,
you have to
then,
vote for Democrat. It's like,
yeah.
hey, people, stay on the plantation where we put you. That's basically what he's saying. It's crazy to think, to have the mindset, not just the mindset, but to believe wholeheartedly that you have the right to speak to people like this, like they are lesser than you, and that they need to do what you say.
Yeah.
That's
Speaking on behalf
insane.
of a group of people that you are the exact opposite of.
Wild.
Well, how about what he said to a black reporter in an interview? Responding to a question on whether he had taken a cognitive test, Biden angrily fired back with the suggestion that the black reporter was a drug addict. He said to him, that's like saying you, before you got in this program, you take a test whether you're taking cocaine or not. Biden said, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
Yeah, I read that quote, and I wasn't really
think I heard
sure
that
how
one.
to. It was written weird, so I didn't put it on my list. But
Huh.
yeah, I remember seeing that. It's bro, it's very clear that he is like an old school racist.
Yeah.
It's clear. It's very clear that he is racist.
He does his best to try to cover it up, but I don't personally think it works.
But it's the same thing that we see. Remember when the media tried pushing the term Latinx?
Yeah, there's only like
Latinx,
3% of Latin people that actually use that
Yeah,
term.
yeah, they
So,
don't want to be called that. It
A
belittles
bunch,
them.
a bunch of mainstream people did it for like 2 or 3 days, got the negative backlash, and then they were like, "Oh no, never mind, we're not."
Yeah.
Gonna. So they're trying to like field a bunch of
Mhm.
stuff and then just curtail what they're doing to public image, and very like. Obviously, you're just being disingenuous. You're not being the real you. You're simply trying to give off the persona that you think people want to see.
Because Latino and Latina are gendered language.
Yeah, so they try to ungender it.
So out of all the jumbled quotes that he has, I picked out one. There's probably 100 you could pick from, but where a string of words where he's trying to create a cohesive thought. There's a during World War II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that was totally different than the it's called. He called it the World War II. He had the war.
Come on, man.
End of quote. Oh no, sorry. The War Production Board. End of quote.
Come on, man.
Whoa.
That's my favorite Biden quote. Come on, man. I say that ever since he took office. I say that all the time now. Someone will do something, say something, I'll be like, come on, man.
That's probably the one good thing that came from him. People can say that.
We got a bunch of gaffes.
Yeah.
I mean, he united half the country, at least one side of the political aisle, with the "Let's Go Brandon"
Oh,
chant.
yeah, I was just gonna say
Like,
that.
Yeah.
And
that
he even
was-
agreed with it the one time.
That
where
was
he's
a
like,
hard
let's go Brandon.
phenomenon.
Yeah.
That was a pretty hard and fast phenomenon. But then they tried to turn it into the Dark Brandon thing, where they gave him with the laser eyes, and it was like, that's so cringe, bro.
Yeah.
So cringe. They tried very hard. I think all three of us and many people that we talk to would agree that even though Joe Biden is technically the elected president, it's very
He's
clear
not
from
running
his
the show.
yes, it's very clear from his cognitive function that
They're just bringing
he's
him.
not.
They're just bringing him bills and laws and saying, "Here you go, Mr. Biden. Just sign right here on this line." And
Oh,
he's like,
absolutely.
"Oh, okay."
They might. I'll give him enough credit and say they might run by what's in the bills to him in a dumbed down way.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
like a point.
Yeah. Otherwise, we would see some. I think we would be seeing much crazier laws put into action. But I think even Biden has he's stuck in his old ways, and even though he might say on television we need to protect certain people from things, he's not going to enact bills on it. Just like the wedge issue that they need with Roe v. Wade. He said at his most recent State of the Union, if you elect me again, I'll codify Roe v. Wade. Codify it now. What do you mean? Oh, you mean you need this issue to run your presidential election on, and then you won't actually do it so that the next Democrat nominee can then run on it
Also
saying,
use that as
I
a
will
bargaining
do
chip.
what the last guy didn't. It's a wedge issue.
In all
That's
fairness, Trump kind of did the same thing with the border.
But he started building it.
No, I'm talking about recently when they were trying to come up with a new border law. Trump had spoken to some Republicans about not signing it because that's one of the major issues he wants to run on so he can secure the border. And this is one of the reasons why I just don't like politics in general, because everybody's fucking shady. They want to play people like this during elections and promise all these things, but then nothing of true value seems to ever really get done.
you have to satiate both sides to some degree. Otherwise, there would be massive conflict all the time. But yeah, I'd see that. I could definitely see Donald Trump saying, I want to be able to put the border policy in my running again, so that he could be like, look at the immigration. If you vote for me again, I'll fix the border.
I don't even think he needs that issue to win. I can't see Joe Biden winning re-election.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he had it almost done, and then they halted production when
he finished 500 miles.
No, there was they only had a couple 100 miles left to go, wasn't it?
No, I think he got
Did you
about
guys
500 miles built.
Did you guys see Tyler Oliveira's video about the southern border recently?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he just did one about the southern border.
Yes.
Texas recently has actually done a good job, and it doesn't seem as if there's many people coming across Texas's border anymore. However, when Tyler Oliveira went to California, it seems to be a lot of them are now coming through California and Nevada since they shut down Texas.
I would imagine they would end up bypassing that anyways. They would somehow get U.S. funding to either come by plane or boat. It's very clear over the last 3 years
I thought
that
I read
the
or
United
heard
States, the current administration in the United States government wants these people to come to this country.
Yeah, I thought I heard or read somewhere recently that they were flying some of them in.
Yeah, through Canada. Yeah, there's actually, this is one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about is actually the immigration through the northern border. Is there are a lot of immigrants flying through Canada to America. It's a small percentage. It's like 10% of the immigration that comes to America illegally is through Canada's border. But that's one of those things. It's very obviously an issue.
What I'm seeing right here is 320,000 migrants have been flown into U.S. cities.
Does it say where from? North, south? It doesn't differentiate. It just says flown in from.
Under it says these secretive flights have compounded the effects of the already historic crisis at the southern border.
Well, I do remember early on in his presidency, the first year, Joe Biden was doing late night flights of the illegal immigrants across the country. So there was that. It's very clearly an issue, and there's a lot of speculation as to why it's being done. But the damage is already done. Like, it really doesn't matter if Trump wins. The kind of policies he would have to enact to revert what Joe Biden has allowed to happen would absolutely be fascistic in nature. You would have to create a completely new department of the U.S. government, spend billions of dollars to round people up and send them out. I'm not saying we shouldn't stop it or try to do it, but at the amount of people that have come in, it's insane. I just don't like that. The kind of policies that would have to be enacted to get these people out of the country now. It's kind of a too little, too late scenario in my eyes. Yeah, so his failed Afghan withdrawal, the terrible bills that he has passed in the past, the 400 plus executive orders he enacted in like the first week in office, some of them actually pertaining to the southern border, where he got rid of a lot of Donald Trump's tough on immigration policy. So we now have the open border policy where they can just come in.
All right, yeah, it looked like almost 500 miles, which is only 25% of the border between U.S. and Mexico.
Still,
I thought it was more.
Still, that's a good start.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's a good
absolutely.
start.
And he started it in 2017, and that was only $15 billion they spent on it.
I believe so. I think it was a little ridiculous when he tried to claim that he would have Mexico pay for the border wall,
Yeah, I mean,
but through taxes and tariffs.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, it was funny when he said that. It was like, nah, man, we're not gonna make Mexico pay for this.
Come on, man.
That's outrageous.
Come on, man.
That's outrageous. So you said, Adam, that you are unfamiliar with the Joe Biden Burisma scandal. You, of course, know about Hunter Biden's laptops and things like that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So, what do you know about it?
Burisma.
Yeah, the whole Burisma thing.
Oh, where he got his son on the board.
Yep.
When he wasn't qualified, and he got basically extorted money, or else they would. Yeah, it's been a while since I looked into it, but
Yeah.
it's
So during his vice presidency, there was a meeting. Do I have it here? It's on the. Let's see.
and then in the emails, give the cut to the big guy, and
Yeah, that's all a part of it. I don't remember who he was giving an interview with, but he pretty blatantly admits to conducting a quid pro quo with the government of Ukraine. He went there on diplomatic missions to talk about there was $1 billion loan guarantee between the Obama administration and the government of Ukraine after their recent coup in 2014.
Yeah.
And there was a company called Burisma Holdings, which is a natural gas company. It seems Joe Biden had some ties with some people in Ukraine. He had his son put on the board of
and he
the
got
company.
paid, what, millions a year or something like that.
Yeah, he was paid. I think it was
$2 million a year, $3 million a year.
something absurd. When he
$2
has
million
no
a year and a pound of
qualifications.
crack.
Yeah, he had no qualifications to be on the board, but in this interview, he says it pretty plainly that he went over there with the $1 billion loan guarantee for Ukraine. He sat down with some representatives from Ukraine. I guess he was already in talkings with them. They promised they would fire a special investigator, a prosecutor named Viktor Shokin.
Yep.
And because the prosecutor had not yet been fired, he was going to withhold the $1 billion loan guarantee.
That's right.
Which is a quid pro quo,
Mhm.
illegal, in fact. And it turns out Viktor Shokin was a lead prosecutor who was looking into the scandalous company dealings of Burisma, which just so happened to be the company where Hunter Biden was a board member of. More information of that came out after the 2019 October surprise, which was the release that Rudy Giuliani had in possession Hunter Biden's 3 laptops. And
Oh, there was 3 laptops?
yes, it was actually 3.
Oh.
It was 3. But the one truly in question was the one with all the photographs on it, you know, the underage people.
Mhm.
So, you guys remember that story getting wildly suppressed, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was
Yeah, if you were
Crazy.
looking into it, you could find it, but
a couple of
barely
hours.
even Fox News was barely even touching on it.
It was wild. It was just within a few hours of the story being released that every social media site had suppressed the story. They started blocking content
Mhm.
from it.
Not shocking.
Yeah, which is one of the main reasons why I don't trust any of these larger companies or social media or anything like that. I do have a couple of websites.
Oh yeah, kind of
here.
like how Facebook was down for an hour and that was the exact time some big thing was going on.
That was recently, yeah.
Yeah, it was just a couple days ago.
I wasn't online during that time. I don't know the whole thing what that was about. But there was another big thing that was going on.
Yeah, there was some big story that was going. I don't remember what it was, but it was
Man.
the exact time Facebook went down for an hour. So
Mm,
people are saying so they couldn't, share the story and whatnot.
interesting. But yeah, with the illegal quid pro quo in Ukraine, with all of the dealings with Hunter Biden, the fact that he had piles and piles of unsecured documents in the garage of his summer home, which was all these things. Just
But he was
adding
only
up
only
together.
vice president at the time, so it's fine.
Right, and a senator,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there was documents
Yeah.
supposedly that were from his senatorship too. So a felony if your name is Donald J. Trump, but perfectly fine if it's Robert Joseph Biden.
Yeah, because there was a padlock on the garage.
Yeah, that's right. There because it was padlocked. Yeah. But
Ain't no way to get past a padlock, man. That's
Yeah.
it. Checkmate.
especially if the property is owned by the Chinese. Yeah. Yeah, definitely nothing to see there. Nothing to see there.
So, Adam, does it say anything else on there about good things that he's done?
I don't know. My Google Chrome crashed. Let me bring it back up.
Oh, they know what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I really would love to have somebody that has information about Joe. I haven't seen any redeeming qualities of this man. Maybe because I'm a far right fascist MAGA supporter, and
Nazi.
I'm blind to all the great things that the greatest president this country has ever seen has done. I would love to speak to somebody that can truly sit down with information to articulate why this man should be voted for
you're
again.
somebody that's pro Biden.
Yeah,
That I don't think it's doable.
This one that's on whitehouse.gov, I actually do like a little bit. Ending our country's failed approach to marijuana, where he pardoned all prior federal offenses for simple marijuana possession. That is actually, in my mind, as a cannabis enthusiast, that's a big one to me. I don't think anyone who wants to get high is a criminal unless they do criminal shit to afford what they're buying to get high.
Yeah, I guess that is a positive one. It's crazy it took that long to put something like that into place.
Yeah.
He also initiated a process to revive how marijuana is scheduled. I think it's still fucking asinine that federally it's still Schedule 1 when there's been many proven medicinal uses for it. Schedule 1 is supposed to have no medicinal value to it or any use for anything medicinal.
Yeah, ones that
and
can
it's
kill you.
supposed to
basically.
have the highest potential for abuse, addiction, and it's not dangerous. You can be mentally addicted to it, even though people try to convince you that you can't, but you very much can. I know people that have to smoke before everything they do. To me, that's a psychological addiction. But there's even a slight physical withdrawal when you quit smoking cannabis. One of the biggest is just
Some people
not
get a little
angry, and the biggest one for me,
When they
anytime
smoke.
I take a tolerance break, is not being able to sleep. Like you can go to sleep, but it's very difficult for the first 7 to 10 nights.
Isn't there a very, very, very rare form of psychosis that can come from smoking?
According to the state of California, yes, because that girl that stabbed her boyfriend 100-something times, and she must have had a really good lawyer because the lawyer was able to convince the jury that she was experiencing psychosis from marijuana. That's crazy because I don't know anybody that wants to get violent on marijuana. It makes everyone I know when they're in a violent state of mind be like, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe violence isn't the answer, man.
It could have been. She could have had a bad batch. It could have been.
I call bullshit on the whole thing. I think she just had a good lawyer. The lawyer saw his opportunity and said, "I'm going to take this."
Yeah, we're gonna roll with it and
It's hard for me to even think how it could be a bad batch. Laced, maybe, but if
yeah.
it was laced, then
That's what I meant
Then
by
it's
bad
not marijuana.
batch.
if it was
with
laced, then
something.
why didn't they find anything in the dead boyfriend's system?
Did they? So I don't know the trial at all or anything like that.
Yeah, I actually
did they
did not hear about
find?
that.
All she got was probation for stabbing and murdering her boyfriend. That's it.
It is California, so I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
That just sounds like she probably comes from a family with money, and they probably paid good money to get one of the best lawyers possible.
Yeah.
And there's almost no way to disprove if somebody was experiencing a psychosis in that moment from the cannabis.
Unless it was, I don't know, unless there was a device that is connected to your body somehow, and then constantly feeding data to the internet that could be linked to some kind of monitoring system.
Yeah, but even lie detector tests can be admissible in court.
No, I'm not a lie detector test, but
Something that can like
like a chip in your head that was continuously
record
sending
brain
data.
waves and stuff.
Yeah. And could measure like chemical levels and
Yeah.
things. Yeah, if there were, I don't know, some kind of device like that was linked to the internet, that I don't know, there would be some kind of bill that the government could pass to where they could say they could have access to that information at any given time in case they needed to use it to, find out what's really going on with things.
Are you talking about Neuralink?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Future laws that will come with Neuralink,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey,
That's what I thought you were hinting at.
if we had this information, we could stop murders.
I love what
we
Neuralink
could
is.
figure out the thought pattern of
Stop them
murderers.
before they even happen, like that movie.
Thought crime.
you get
I
it
love
right.
Minority
what
Report.
Neuralink is being used for now. I love it. It's the future applications of it that terrify me.
The ones that will absolutely 100% be abused because people will be scared into allowing certain things to happen. Yeah. What? Don't you want murders to stop? We can stop murders.
I bet you can't.
Yeah, they could.
We'll be
If
able to
something's
tell
about
when
to
it's
happen,
going
they
to
could
happen.
press a button in it. The
Yeah.
chip explodes and kills the
That'd be kind
person.
of cool.
That'd be.
Yeah. Oh, another issue with the pouring immigration problem was we saw the police officers that got the shit kicked out of them in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as they got released, because catch and release in New York,
yep.
they got released instantly and then started flipping off. These people don't respect the
And then you had
laws or
the one
culture of
lady
our
that was
country.
murdered.
Laken Riley.
Yep. Lincoln. Riley.
Lincoln. That's right. Her name is Lincoln,
Yeah.
according to Joe.
Yeah.
So he
Ridiculous.
brought that up, said Lincoln Riley, we're sorry for that, who was killed by an illegal immigrant. And then for some reason,
And then said, "Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to see illegal. I meant
I didn't mean to
undocumented."
say illegal immigrant. Bro, literally an illegal immigrant who had 2 other interactions with the United States police force, then was allowed to rape and murder a girl. Awesome.
I'm sure he's a decent human being.
He has to be, right? Because there's no possible way that people with ill intent would ever come to our country, right? No, they're just here on humanitarian reasons. They're fleeing their countries of oppression, which was brought on because of America's evil imperialism. Yeah, that's the reason. That's the reason.
Oh, it's kind of like maybe Trump was right when he said they weren't sending their
Best and brightest.
best. Yeah. Now, I can understand if, like when Tyler did the interview, the dude from Venezuela, I can absolutely understand somebody from Venezuela wanting to come over because they're,
Life sucks in
Yeah.
Venezuela.
yeah,
Life sucks.
their government's even probably more corrupt than ours.
Yeah, because everything is so scarce in Venezuela.
Yeah.
You have to be corrupt just in order to leave a not decent life, but
One where you can survive.
yeah. There was a small interview, not an interview video, but kind of like a small document video that was put on YouTube a couple years ago of a group of like 4 guys that went to Venezuela for a vacation, and they really saw how bad it is. Like
So they didn't go to the tour. Is there even a tourist area in there, or is it just
in
all-
Venezuela? Oh,
Yeah.
of course there is. Of course. In socialist countries, there's absolutely
Yeah, I guess they're going to
tourist
have
attractions.
one area.
How
that's-
else are you going to have an economy?
Yeah.
There has to be capitalism.
Well, I meant one that, because some places will have tourist areas,
Like
and
Cuba. And,
it'll be maybe not really pretty, but it'll be not crime ridden,
no, these guys went to like
resorts.
real Venezuela.
Yeah, they went to the middle of it
Yeah.
where.
And from what I can recall watching the video, they showed parts of Venezuela. Like if you wanted to go get food, you would stand in a line like 2 miles long outside of a grocery store waiting for them to open. The store would be open for like 2 hours.
Oh,
And if you didn't get in, you didn't get food. everything was one brand. There was like bread, beans, powdered milk, and that's it. They were in a line for nearly 6 hours to get gasoline, and every single apartment building had like a red code siren inside the building. You were not allowed by law to lock your door. If the siren was going off, you would have to like be up against the wall because that meant the police are coming. They had to escape. They got word that the police were coming to seize them, so they were like, "We're out of here. We're gone." Wild, but hey, that's socialist utopia. So completely off Joe Biden as well, but you saw that New York City put National Guardsmen in the subways.
Didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't see National
Really?
Guard.
Let me pull it. So, New York City.
I know all of their migrant facilities are basically overrun with people, and they're housing 60,000, and there's almost 200,000 currently in New York City. So you have
Jesus
140,000 just
Jeez.
sleeping wherever they can find.
Sounds about right. No, this was earlier last week. New York City is sending National Guard to the subways after strings of crimes. So what I've been seeing on like Twitter and things like that, a lot of people are getting very mad because they're like, "This is fascism. This is fascism." This is because of left progressive policies and laws being put into place, like lax on crime, catch and release. You can commit violent acts and then be let go out of jail an hour later to go commit the same crimes. So there has been a massive string of violent crimes in the New York City subways.
Yeah, because it's
To the point where Kathy Hochul has announced that they're sending the National Guard into the subway.
it's wintertime,
Yeah,
and it's
but-
less cold and windy down there, and they're not getting rained on. And
Who would have guessed that if you let criminals be criminals, that you're then going to have to enact stricter policy?
I could have guessed that.
And this is one of the best examples that stands the test of time as to why socialist policies don't work. You try to be caring and nice and make everything equal,
They're going to take advantage
and
of
now the left is being fascistic.
it. Mhm.
Oh, you don't want to follow the rules or laws? Now we're going to have military force come in and enforce this. And it's like, a lot of people are crying, "This is fascistic. This is fascistic. This is ultra fascism. This is what happens. This is dystopian." These are your policies. This is what you people wanted. You had a problem. You try to solve it by enacting terrible laws and policies and making the problem worse so you then can be more authoritarian. It doesn't make sense, but at the same time, it's very clear what you're trying to do. Oh, well, the solution that we had didn't work, so now we have to be stronger about it. We have to be more strong-handed, and I don't see this ending well.
Hey, at least Joe Biden brought gas prices down more than $1.60 from their summer 2022 peak,
Yeah.
which is a peak that jumped up in
Gas got over
2021.
$4?
Oh, yeah, it was.
Oh, was it?
Dude, diesel was over $5 at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they helped bring it down from a peak that didn't start going up and peaking until they got in office. So, congratulations. You helped somewhat manage a problem that you seemed to create.
Yeah, I did have that written down. Yeah, it peaked at its highest, a couple years ago, and then it's still higher than it was 8 years ago.
Yep. I could see the pandemic kind of playing a role in that. But
Part of what got it down was he sold all of our oil reserves
yes.
to boost the economy.
And we're just now starting to restack those. But a lot of the executive orders in Biden's first week in office, where he started
Stop drilling and
he cut all of the
Keystone
pipeline, which was that was more
natural gas.
no, but it was more speculative buying. So since that speculation of having free flow crude oil sent to the United States, that might have jumped the prices. But no, he also ended, it was, I believe, a couple of thousand different natural gas drilling contracts in the United States. He did an executive order that cut that. But this is another one of those things where I believe they create the problem, like you said, Adam.
Mhm.
They try to come up with a solution to fix a problem that wasn't there, so that the problem gets worse, and then later enact more government control because of the policies that they enacted. It's just like when the gas prices first started jumping and climbing, everybody in defense of Joe Biden was like, the president doesn't have any control over the gas prices. But since the gas prices have dropped from last year to this year,
Now all of a sudden they played a part in it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Joe Biden, for lowering my gas prices. Bro, 3 years ago you said he literally had nothing to do with the gas prices.
Yeah, and if a president couldn't do anything, then why was it the lowest in over 15 years or something? When
Because
we hadn't
because
seen
Donald
like
Trump-
$1.15 gas since like 2002.
Yeah. Donald Trump,
Trump was in.
was signing deals with other countries.
I missed the
and
COVID
doing
gas
more
prices of
things.
2020, man, when it was under $2. Especially because I felt like I had more opportunities to go outside and do stuff during COVID than ever. Especially the 3 weeks I was off work until my job realized they were essential and opened back up. I swear I was outside like every day those 3 weeks. And what was great is I like going to nature spots that aren't very people-y. There was like no people in 2020. I loved it. Roads were clear. There wasn't stupid drivers. I was just out having a good time.
Speaking of your work, I've seen a recent Facebook post about
Stepping in
a
shit.
delivery that you
Oh,
took.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, look, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be judgmental, but quit being scumbags. Don't be disgusting fucks. Pardon my language. Take a delivery last night. It's dark. Their front porch light isn't on. They got a doggy gate by the steps. I assume when I see that, okay, they had a dog out recently. They didn't want the dog to get off the porch. Step over the gate, take one step on the porch. I feel something squish under my foot. I look down, and not only is my foot in a pile of dog shit, there had to have been at least a week's worth of dog shit piles all over this front porch. That's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
If you leave it in your yard, that's one thing, but to leave it on your front porch and then to order pizza and not maybe give us a heads up in the instructions, like,
Or meet you out there.
or to meet us out there, or to tell us to use your side door, like, it's fucking gross. I was disgusted. And earlier in that night, it pissed me off even more after this had already happened prior. I'm on Lake Street taking a delivery to an apartment building that's an upstairs apartment. I go in the front door and it smells worse than a horse's barn. Absolutely disgusting, and the smell kept getting worse and worse as I went up the stairs. So I'm only assuming it's coming from one of those apartments, and it literally smelled like horses were just shitting all over this apartment building. Absolutely disgusting. I told my manager, I said, if I got to deliver to that building again, I'm
Leaving it on the porch, yeah.
calling them as soon as I pull up and telling them straight up, I'm outside with your food. You can come out and meet me. I'm not going in there. It smells.
You know, we should have the government tell these people that they need to take better hygiene health of themselves. You know, they need to take better care of their hygiene. We should tell the government to do that.
I mean, I purposefully don't walk through people's front yards to avoid stepping on dog shit. I purposefully stay on the sidewalk that leads up because I've stepped in dog shit too many times walking across yards. I didn't think I'd have to worry about stepping on dog shit on somebody's front porch.
Yeah, like I know this is Elmira, but
There's
I've
there
never
are
seen
some-
that.
That's
No, there are
disgusting.
some really gross people.
Oh yeah, I've
Really
seen, but I've never
gross.
seen. I've never seen. Porch
Did they
poop.
In all my years of delivering pizza, it's the first time I've ever seen
Like,
that.
did they apologize? Did they even acknowledge it?
No.
They,
All the lady said was
Of course
after
not.
I gave her her food, she goes, "Oh, I should have told you to use the side door." Yeah, how about that shit? How about that shit?
Because the front porch is where little Pookie goes her boom booms. Did they have a screen door?
She doesn't like to touch
See,
the
this
grass.
is me. I'm already
No, I
thinking
don't think
of.
there was a screen door.
I'm thinking of petty shit in my mind. If they had like a screen door, you just smear as much
On the
shit
bottom
as you
of
can
it.
on the bottom of your foot,
Yeah.
and right through the screen meshing of their door. Oh, like, or I would get enough shit on the bottom of both of my feet, and I would walk on my heels to their car and smear it on their car door.
Oh, what I should have done
Fuck
is
these
set
people.
my pizza bag down, pull out their pizza, and wipe my shoes off on top of their fucking pizza.
I mean, you could have just like, what you should have done was just taken the food,
Set
dropped
it on one of the
on
piles
one of the
shit.
piles, and then gotten on the ground and then just used your elbow and doosh real hard and be like, oh,
I wouldn't have done that though, because there was so much shit on that front porch. If I would have done that, I would have gotten shit all over my body.
Well, then you go back to the store and be
Like-
like, hey, I need to go home and change.
When I actually looked
There's
down,
a lot of gross people, man.
when I actually looked down after stepping in that pile of shit, like it was just everywhere. Like I don't even know how they let their dog go out there without their dog stepping in it. It was everywhere. It's
Was
everywhere.
it a big dog?
I don't know. I didn't see the dog. I just saw the piles of shit. They were almost as big as the pile of shit we have as president.
Little clever. Just little landmines all over the place.
Oh, they weren't little, so I'm guessing the dog was bigger.
Are both of you registered to vote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't vote. I can't vote in primaries
The
though.
governor race.
You can't vote in primaries?
Yeah,
Wow.
no, I'm registered as no party affiliation.
You can switch it though.
Yeah, even if you just if you switch your registration even to independent, you could still vote for Trump. Even if you switch
Well, I mean,
to
I can-
Democrat, you can still vote for Trump.
I can vote for either of them in the actual presidential election. I just can't vote in primaries.
Oh, like who's going to be the Democratic
Mhm.
nominee primary? And
Mhm.
okay, yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. There's
There's
nobody.
Trump.
There's no
Trump.
contest.
Oh yeah,
now. Nikki Haley
everyone else
dropped
dropped out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's no contest.
After she only
So,
won one state
Iowa.
or two states.
Iowa,
or something
I
like
think.
that.
In a country of 328 plus million people, you'd think we'd have better options for our presidential candidates.
No, because humans are just human, and they're products of their generation. So imagine when somebody in our generation right now is in their 50s and 60s running for president. It's going to be a problem. When a millennial is running for president, we're going to have a real problem. Our generation's kind of fucked.
Well,
I think so.
I
I think
mean-
millennials are pretty fucked because of the
we
way
had
we were
somebody
raised.
from basically our generation run already, and he seemed really
Vivek?
good.
Yeah.
He's only 4 or 5 years older than us.
He's 36.
36, yeah.
36.
Well, 4 years.
He's
older
just barely able to run, but at the same time,
I'm surprised he didn't get called out more for plagiarizing Obama during his campaign.
he
Although it's not
Did.
it's not full plagiarizing because he slightly changed some words,
Yeah.
but
it's still plagiarism.
he
I
took
believe.
he took Obama's whole 2008 shtick, like literally almost word for word. One of them about a nice young man who articulates himself, or I can't remember the exact quote he used at the moment, but it's like, wait a minute, I've heard that before, and then you find a Barack Obama speech that's damn near identical to what Vivek said, and it's like,
Could have been coincidence.
doubt it.
Could have, but Vivek's smart. You know, he saw what happened with Barack Obama, and I'm sure he kind of played the same party line. I'm sure. But it is still kind of like plagiarizing. So, and I like Vivek, but I still don't fully trust him. Just like Trump. I like
Yeah.
Trump, but I still don't
You can't
trust him.
You
Like,
can't fully trust any
he's a
politician.
businessman, and in his last term, his family got, not he personally, but his family got a little bit more wealthy because of his presidential, but so does every politician. I'm not going to condemn one man for literally doing what everybody else does. Just like one of the keystones of his 2016 presidential race was when Hillary Clinton tried to call him out on not paying taxes, and then he rebutted with, Same thing with you and all of your donors. Everybody that you know benefits from this.
Mhm.
So, of course, I game the system just like everybody else.
Yeah,
if you
you'd be-
wanted the laws
yeah,
to
you'd
change,
be
you would
dumb not
change the
to.
laws.
Mhm.
Like, don't come at me for doing exactly what everybody else does. Like, I'm smart. It is what it is. It's not
Yeah.
wrong.
I kind of wish it was Vivek that was in the lead, because
Yeah.
I've had even some of my lefty friends say they would probably vote for him.
Yeah.
And that kind of shocked me a little bit.
4 years from now, like if we get Trump, and he obviously can't run again, this
Yeah.
will be his second term.
Well, unless he
Vivek's gonna run
states
again.
himself as king of
That's
United
true.
States and
Yeah.
just stays until he dies.
If he declares martial law because we get into a hot physical conflict with Russia or China,
Yeah.
then he declares himself king of.
Or he just
That could very well possibly happen before the presidential election, and we might be stuck with Biden in that
That's
case.
probably what he's trying to do.
Maybe. I don't know how he still thinks he's in the running.
I don't know how he still thinks.
Well,
I don't really
At
think
all.
he does.
is
Yeah.
he running currently?
Yeah. Biden?
Yeah, he said he is running for president next.
He's walking for president. That man can't move too well.
Yeah. Well, more like stumbling or staggering forward.
He's just kind
He's
of
being guided.
he's Roombaing around for president, you know.
Yeah, he does wander aimlessly quite often, and they have to kind of
Yeah.
direct him where he's going. They just kind of
We get
Doing his
about
cattywample. I think that's the word for wandering aimlessly.
we get about 30 minutes worth of coherent speech from him at a time. After 30 minutes, he's done.
Well, if it's not written down or on a teleprompter, that's when it really becomes incoherent.
Even if it's on a teleprompter, his brain stops recognizing words.
30 minutes is generous.
I think it's about.
Well, that's about as long as
More like-
Hunter's crack is going to last in his body is about 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, the crack's wearing off.
Oh, all the I mean,
Yeah.
or whatever they dope him up with to make him awake.
the adrenochrome.
That's the good shit.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. No, but I definitely see 4 years from now, I could absolutely see Vivek winning. But the problem is he's going to run as Republican, and he's going to have to convince a lot of liberals and Democrats to vote for him. But I honestly believe that Barack Obama did, in fact, convince a lot of Republicans to vote for him. You know, of course, he was a Democrat,
Yeah.
but softer Republicans, sure. I'm sure a lot of soft Republicans voted for him.
I think Vivek could probably get the left by growing his hair out long, identifying as a woman, and going by Vivica. That might work.
Maybe.
Might work.
Vivitar. I could see his name being Vivitar.
I'd vote for him if he did that. Just
Or
for
just
the bold
Vivi.
move.
Vivi. Yeah. He'll get the One Piece fans on
Yep.
his side.
Oh, yeah.
I could definitely see Vivek in 4 years. That would be pretty awesome, but I'm skeptical,
I'm
of
gonna ask
course,
to
of
be his
of
campaign
what
guy.
kind
My
of
question
policies
is,
he would enact.
in 4 more years, who are the Democrats going to have run? I feel like I don't know any good politicians on that side of the aisle. Not that I'm saying I know a lot on the right side either. I
They
feel like all of them
have,
are pieces of shit, but
At that point, they might convince
Alexandria Newsom. Yeah.
how you going to let a guy run the whole country that can't even run his state properly?
Well, none of the Democrats can run their state properly.
It's a solid point.
It does depend how hard they keep pushing this white man bad narrative. If they keep going as hard as they are with white men bad, then Newsom couldn't possibly.
That's
But-
true. They could convince Michelle Obama.
Michelle, maybe.
But
I think she is
keeps
actually
saying she
said-
doesn't want to do it.
Yeah. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's
Yikes.
a hard...
Was she born in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Oh,
But she's a hard party follower, so she would run if they asked her to. And
Yikes.
the first Hispanic woman...
I don't know if they go
Ilhan
there because I think
Omar?
she's getting less popular. I think a lot of people are kind of shying away from her.
maybe.
Well, it's because I wouldn't be surprised if some of it's because of her fake virtue signaling, making videos to put online that are just completely staged, trying to virtue signal to all your constituents.
Mhm.
Well, if she stays quiet for like the next decade, when she's like 45, 50-ish.
That's true. People will just know her name from
Yep.
a
Yep.
long time ago, and
Yeah.
they
And
might remember people liked her or something. And
new voters would be so young, they
Mhm.
wouldn't know of all the stuff that
Yeah.
happened during 2020, all the things that she lied about. There's, I think his name is Hakeem Jeffries. He's in the Democrat Senate. He seems very popular. So there's him. Yeah, I'm sure the Democrats have some up and comers, but it does seem
no big names yet. Yeah.
it seems like a lot of them are being kept under the boot right now because they're more radical socialists than they are the current Democrat Party. So I believe in the next decade or two, we're going to see some Democrats really playing hard on the socialist part, on socialist policies, which is going to make the right seem way more fascist because
gonna
that's
make-
all they're going to scream about.
It's going to make people that align as Democrat look like they're far right. The wing keeps moving further and further.
Yeah, depends how loud everybody gets. But if social media keeps playing the part that they do, they're going to make people who seem on the right as incredibly further right than they are. They're going to enhance the small minority loud left, and it's going to make it seem normal. It's not, but they're going to... It's all about perception and perspective. They're going to make it... People perceive the left as more popular and louder than it is based on a very small, loud minority. The internet's not real. That's all I gotta say about it. The internet's not real. It's very hard to determine
And because
how
of-
many people are actually saying things.
And
out
because
there.
of algorithms on different social media sites, I feel like it gives people on both the left and right a selective perspective.
Yeah.
You're only seeing things that your algorithm knows you're going to engage with. So therefore, you're not actually seeing anything from the opposition. So you can't take any points of view from the opposition. That happened to me for the longest time. You know, I used to ride the Orange Man Bad train very hard.
Yeah.
Until
I did it
around
first.
2018, 2019, things started really changing. My views went from left to back to the center fairly quickly in those 2 years, especially because I started actually looking at information that I would call the opposition. I started listening to certain right-wing commentators just as much as I would left-wing. And that's when I really started putting my thoughts together and my feelings on certain things together and realizing, okay, yeah, I'm not as democratic or not as Democrat or progressive as I originally thought. I feel like I thought I was like that because that's what most of my friends at the time were, and I was, in a sense, just kind of following the crowd and aligning with them and agreeing with them until I started looking at things that would be opposition and realizing, I actually agree with that. I agree with what that person just said.
Which makes you kind of want to lean a little bit further to the right, and then you start seeing things that you disagree with,
Mhm.
and that feels like it's the pendulum. That's what I went through for a couple of years.
The
I
downfall to
started
that-
seeing the right, and I was like, maybe I am more conservative and Republican, and then I started the further right I got, I was like, I don't agree with that or that or that or that.
Yeah, that's
and
why
then I
there's four
swang
quadrants.
back a little bit, and now I'm like, maybe I'm like right here.
Yeah, because you could
The-
be to the right, but you could be more liberal and
you know.
The downfall to that for me was then my algorithms started realizing I was looking at more right-wing content, and now that's all I'm starting to see is the right-wing content. So I have to purposefully go and try to find both left and right-wing content so they both show up in my algorithm as equally.
Yeah, that can be difficult. Though.
Mhm.
That can be algorithms are very dangerous. But
I love them for certain things. Like YouTube knows exactly what kind of music I like.
Mhm.
I fucking love the algorithms for that. Anytime there's, new music that's down my alley in the genres I like, YouTube suggests it to me.
I think these companies should have like a dual program. So it used to be, what is it called when you I forget what it's called, but it's like things that are posted first. What's the system that they used to use before they used algorithms?
Posted where? Like, I was tuned out. Sorry.
Like on Facebook, you would see like the most recently posted things.
Yeah.
That's how Facebook used to be.
Well, you can
but
still
now-
do that. You just got to change it on your wall to view the most recent posts.
Does it actually offer a setting like that?
Pretty sure it
Instead of
does.
seeing
Yeah, you can do it by
algorithmically fed?
timestamp instead of
Timestamp, but
Yeah.
it's called something specifically because it's reverse time coded or something. I forget what it's called. But there should be like two separate pages where the options are very clear. You can click on this and you could see the most
See if I can
timely
Google it.
things or the algorithm based. But something I definitely want to bring up because I am very anti-communist and things like that. I think it's very, very weird that now I don't agree that Nazism or Nazi sympathizing should be allowed on social medias, but it is very, very strange to see on Facebook, TikTok, X, Instagram, how you can have very pro-socialist and communist views and it be fed into the algorithm, but Nazism is overtly and outwardly completely struck. You're not allowed to say anything pro-Hitler. You're not allowed to say anything pro-National Socialist. Nothing that has to do with Nazi. But you are more than able and even encouraged to be pro-Stalinist or pro-Che Guevara. I don't understand how you can allow one fascistic dictator who killed millions of people be allowed and not the other. So I see social media purposely guiding people into a more pro-socialist view of the world.
Which
Because
is
you're
another
not
reason why children
allowed-
also shouldn't have unfettered access to
Yeah.
the internet and social media.
So
But
the,
it's
the
one
only
of
thing
those
I could
things
find
where
was
you're-
just the Facebook newsfeed. That's what
I think it had to do. So it was more with YouTube where I really can't remember, but Tim Pool and them just talked about this the other day where it was called something specific where you would see like later videos first where it was kind of time stamped, but it was described as a specific time kind of coding where you would see instead of seeing the most viewed videos of a certain category that fits into your algorithm, you would just see like whatever videos were posted at that moment. But yeah, back to that. Just I don't see why you would allow socialist and communist ideology to fester and rise on these social medias and then disallow you will allow far left extremist authoritarian views but disallow far right fascistic views. That is very clearly biased. Now, I agree that you shouldn't allow either of them, but if you're going to allow one, you have to allow the other.
Yeah.
If Nazis want to be loud and proud on Facebook, let them. I'm not going to join their group, and I'm going to laugh at them when I see them posting pro-Hitler and shit. Same thing that I do when I see people talking about how great Stalin and Lenin was. No, bro, he killed billions of people. No, not at all.
I don't think he killed 1 billion.
In Soviet Russia, it was like 22 million people.
Yeah.
Altogether through
It's quite a ways
communism.
away from 1 billion.
I think altogether in the Little Black Book of Communism, it's roughly estimated 100 million people died as a direct cause.
Millions.
Well,
and
China
millions.
alone was like 100 million.
China was 3 million through Mao's. Mhm.
No, it was way more than that.
Let me Google
No,
that.
it's estimated.
That's like 100 million.
No, that's the total number. The total number estimated in the Little Black Book of Communism. I believe,
40
is
to
100
80
million.
million victims due to starvation
80
from
million.
Mao's policies.
Well, it could be Biden's number when he said 120 million died from COVID.
I thought I believe the last I saw through Mao, it was somewhere around 3 million through the where he told people to kill the sparrows and different things like that. But hey, those weren't true socialism, right? You know,
Yeah,
just
they
like
didn't do it right.
Nazism wasn't true socialism either, but it was socialism. It was national socialism, you know, but it is what it is.
What's Biden's approval rating as of late?
Bad.
It's still like what, 30%?
He's about to check it. I've
seen one where
watched a thing today where I think
approval for his economic approval rating was 25%, which seems astronomically high. It should be like 6 or 0.
I don't know how they're going to pull it off this time, but I got a feeling
They're going
Looks
to
like it's at 37%.
37.
the
Went up a
only
couple percent.
I think the only way that they're even thinking about letting Joe still run is because they have to have a plan. There's got to be some kind of contingency. There's no way that the Democrat Party, after everything they did through 2016 to 2020, knowing and paying attention to what was happening, there's no way they're unprepared for Joe Biden to lose. So are they just
Maybe
are they
they
going to let him lose?
Maybe they realize they don't have anybody that is good enough to beat anybody.
Well, according to a survey, Biden is the 14th best president in U.S. history.
Wow.
I want to know who they polled for that survey.
And I bet that same survey says Donald Trump is the worst.
Most likely.
I don't know. Maybe, do you think that they've done everything the last 4 years purposely to make Donald Trump's second term recovery that much harder?
I was thinking that too. It's gonna be
So that he can't have a real impact.
Yeah, it's gonna be similar to 2016 when he took over Obama's and Biden's shit
Kind of
show.
disaster.
That it took him a
He's
couple
gonna
years just to get.
Yeah,
get
he's
going to
spend the whole 4 years trying to recover what Biden did. And he's going to struggle the whole time.
It's exactly
that
why
the
he can run
Democrats
with the
can
slogan
attack
of "Make
on him.
America Great Again," because now it has to be again.
Just make
Tried to make
America
great.
a little bit better, I guess. That's going to be.
The only way it'll work, though, is that if we can truly guarantee that not necessarily another Republican, but another American-minded individual wins after him.
I think Trump's campaign slogan this time should be "Unfuck the shit show." I like it.
We do need more America first
Yeah.
people running.
It doesn't even have to be a Republican.
No.
Like, you can be a Democrat and
As long
say
as you're
it's for
America
America,
first, yeah.
but have American policies. Like, cool. I'd be cool with that. Just prove that you have America's values and the people that live here in mind. Just prove that you care about us instead of just using us as a tax slave cash cow. That's what I feel like. I feel like I mean nothing to you, and all I do is pay your wages.
Mhm.
It's pretty fucked.
Yeah, it just seems like they don't care what happens to the U.S. as long as they make a couple million off it.
The American people, they don't care about America or
Mhm.
American people. You're going to fund our wars, and you're going to like it.
Yep, and if things get real bad, they have their bunker, they have their,
Yeah.
$100 million bunkers that they can survive in for the rest of their life. And
They're prepared for when it ends.
Mhm.
Crazy.
how many wars did Biden get us involved with? I feel like it's a lot more than Trump did.
Well, we haven't actually congressionally declared war since Vietnam.
Well,
So-
but
So
we-
we'll use
we
the term
haven't
military
technically-
conflict.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
because we have troops in like armed troops in other countries on the ground currently fighting.
It depends on how strict on that definition you are, because America has, what did we say? It's like 200 some bases. That's technically boots
but
on the ground.
they're not armed troops engaged in fighting.
Okay. Engaged in fighting.
Yeah.
No idea. A
'Cause-
couple.
Yeah.
But we're funding a war against Russia. And
Well, I
I've
know we're getting ready to send troops over to Gaza, aren't we?
We already have them there.
Yeah,
I'm
so-
pretty sure.
I feel like if our troops are on the ground there, then that's a military conflict we're
Yeah.
involved in. So already Biden is gotten us in more
Even,
military
now
conflict
Russia
than
hates
Trump.
us. China hates us.
even if we don't get into armed conflict in Gaza, yeah, that's involved military
Mhm.
conflict. Because preventative conflict or preventative measures is still armed conflict.
Yeah.
But I've had to convince a couple people that we, as America, are in fact at war with Russia. And they're like, no, we're not. No, we're not. We don't have troops over there. We haven't declared war. And I'm like, we are funding the people who are fighting against Putin
Yeah,
in Russia.
we are involved.
We
at
are-
the very
Yeah,
least.
we are at war with Russia. We might not be shooting guns at each other. But if it wasn't for us, this conflict would be over.
We've chosen a side.
Yeah, this conflict would be over.
Yeah, it's
and
like-
it would be sad that Ukraine is now absorbed again back into Russia, but it'd be over.
Yeah, it'd be the same thing as two people getting in a fight, and then you toss a stick to somebody to hit the other guy with.
That's
like,
the exact
yeah,
analogy.
You're
Yeah.
involved.
That's the exact analogy I gave this guy. I was like, if you and I were in a fist fight right now, but there was somebody behind me handing me brass knuckles, are you fighting me or are you fighting me and him? And it's like, okay. It's like, yeah, like that's what it is. We are in active conflict with
Mhm.
Russia right now. It's just we both have nukes, so neither of us are really, we're just kind of sitting back. Same thing with Gaza, Israel and Palestine. Same thing with, what was it, the Houthi rebels from Yemen? Is it Yemen?
Maybe.
Think
The
so.
Middle East is a blur to me. The entire Middle East is just Iraq to me.
That's Islamophobic. It's, it is a very strange part of the world.
Yeah.
But
Like, to me,
Hmm?
I imagine just all desert and people in turbans.
what the?
I mean,
I don't
he's
know
like,
that much about
I
I
mean,
mean-
he's about 80% correct on that.
Yeah, you're not,
There's a lot of desert, and I won't call them all turbans, but there's a lot of headwear,
yeah.
and they're not hats. They're
Yeah,
not hats.
headwear. Non-hat headwear.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what? I don't think it's
there's a lot of oil too.
What is it? I don't think it's xenophobic to say that.
No, it's ignorant.
because it's not something we ever learned.
It's
in
just
school.
an observation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
for Saudi Arabia, they're building that giant uni city, which is kind of cool, but at the same time terrifying.
Oh, what city?
You haven't seen it? The giant lion city? Oh,
I don't think so.
Yeah, definitely look into the line.
yeah. This is
The
so
Line
cool. Yeah.
City?
Yeah.
What is this supposed to be? Some utopia for rich people or something?
Yes.
Not just for rich people, I think for everybody.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Boom. So they're building, I think it's like a 15-mile long straight line city that is going to be completely self-efficient where you won't have to leave. Oh yeah.
You won't have to leave, or they won't let you leave.
No, it'll be one of those things where follow our laws or we kick you out. And if you're one of those people, you're not going to know how to survive outside of the line.
Mhm.
So, yeah. It's going to have like a fully mirrored surface. I'm trying to find like their artist renditions of it and things like that. Yeah, they'll have like sports events. It's going to be fully self-sufficient. They'll have gardens like every so.
Oh, so it's not
often.
something that's being built, just something that's being planned currently?
No, they're starting to build.
Oh,
it.
they are starting.
Yeah. Yep. They just started to build
Hmm.
it. Yep.
You think it's gonna work?
I don't know.
Saudi Arabia is like the richest country on the planet, so it'll probably work.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just have images of it. It's not a whole lot.
How
of
much resources are they gonna have to strip from the surrounding people in order to make that work?
all of it.
Like, where are they getting the water? They're gonna have to like get water, steal water from everywhere.
Well, no, the
And then
Saudi
that's-
princes have enough money where they. What's that thing with the cloud seeding? They do that.
Well,
on
yeah,
a
that's
regular.
stealing water from other places.
I'm sure there's got to be wells under the
'Cause
ground
the
they can
cloud
tap
seeding-
into as well.
Yeah, it takes moisture from everywhere else, so it only rains there.
Yeah, but they have all the money. So if you're somebody they don't like, then you don't get the water.
So they're going to kill a bunch of people to make that city work.
Either
Yeah, sure, why not?
you move into the city and
Or you-
follow
or you-
our rules,
or you die. Okay, so
or-
they're giving you a choice.
Yes, just like with the vaccine, you had a choice. You can either get the vaccine,
Or be fired.
or you could lose your job, never fly anywhere again, never be able to cross any borders, do anything, be
Then a couple
ostracized
months
by
later-
everybody in your life.
Then a couple months later, they're like, "Oh yeah,
But you had a choice.
yeah, well, oh yeah, you can have your job back." And it's like, "Oh, awesome! I didn't need to get that then."
Yeah. It was totally a choice. Absolutely. 100% choice.
Yeah, after they're like, "Oh, half the nurses quit." We
No repercussions for not getting it.
mhm.
None whatsoever. Man, when things like that happen, it really makes me like, is this reality? Like, is it?
It's what we know is reality.
But is it?
It's most likely a simulation. Even Elon Musk thinks
Yeah.
there's a 1 in 1 billion chance we're actually in base reality.
Yeah.
You guys say you want to wrap this one up early?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
I think we covered everything Joe Biden. I think it's safe to say
well, not
that,
everything. There's
yeah. There's
I think most of the key points and
I wanted to stay away from the children allegations, but
how you can see him do it. He sniffs kids. He's a weirdo.
He's the best at it. I don't think I've ever seen anybody sniff kids
Champion
as good as
kid
him.
Sniffer.
Like like when it that's probably one of the best things he's done as president is sniff kids. Even
make-
before he was president.
make children feel incredibly visibly uncomfortable
to where they
in
wanna-
photos where you can see little girls like
Yeah. Right. hmm
yeah.
After that, yeah. Now I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Safe
Cut
to
that
say
outro.
the three of us are not going to be voting for Joe Biden.
I'm pretty sure I am.
Yeah.
He's got my vote.
Maybe he will do a better job.
If we
next
just give him
term.
four more.
Yeah.
Look, I just heard a CNN anchor say that this is the best version of Joe Biden we've ever seen, and I believe him. He's on the
Oh,
news, so I believe
Even
that guy.
after the 2 aneurysms?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
After 2 aneurysms, this is the best Joe has ever been
And
able
when
to
he
do.
blurted out he had cancer.
And the news anchor said it, and I was like, you know what? That guy, he tells the news, so he's got to be telling me the truth. This is the best Joe Biden we've ever seen, and if he's only getting better, then yeah, I'll vote for him for a second term. Let him really ramp it up.
Because news anchors aren't specifically people who just want a spotlight.
Yeah, because once you hit 80, it's only uphill from there.
It's only uphill. Well, for some people, it's up a golden staircase. Other people, it's to a fiery slide to hell.
Yeah.
So,
And which a staircase that he has trouble going up.
all right, cut that outro. I
Yep.
guess.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We had a little bit of a laugh with this one. We had fun.
That's all you can do with this man anymore is laugh at him because
Yeah,
it feels wrong to be mean to him anymore. It really
Yeah,
does.
because he's just at that age to where
It's wrong.
I think he almost doesn't know what he's doing.
He doesn't.
The times he does, he's probably doped up with adrenaline and
That last half hour until they need to give him more ice cream.
Truman not a shaman pressure and making up terms. And yeah, let us know if you're for, against Biden. I don't think there's going to be too many comments for, but I mean, if you are against Biden, tell us who you'd like to see, in place for the Democratic nominee. If there was one person in the Democratic Party, who would you guys want to see? Since Robert Kennedy is no longer
None of them.
fair.
I don't know enough about them. Out of all the Democratic
That is
politicians,
true. I
those
don't know a
in
lot.
Congress, Senate, even local, like somebody could literally come out of nowhere and run for president. I have no idea.
Yeah, the only one would have been RFK.
Yeah.
That's the only one that I.
But even some of his policies are give or take.
He would have been the
like-
best for me.
Yeah. I really don't like his gun control stances, but
Yeah,
if
but anybody that's for getting rid of the 3-letter government positions,
oh yeah.
I'm kind of for.
Yeah. If a Democrat comes forward and starts speaking positions that I agree with, I will vote Democrat. That's literally all it is. I'm not a vote blue no matter who,
Yeah.
vote red no matter what. I'm not one of them. No, just
Vote red till you're dead.
vote red to you, whatever.
I was like, I didn't rhyme.
It's literally proof to me that you're going to be a good choice. That's it.
Yep. Well, on that note, goodbye.